So you've just booked your trip to Walt Disney World and you're wondering where to start. Welcome to my beginner series. In today's video we're going to be talking about Magic Kingdom. So in this video today there's going to be attractions, dining, shows and some character meet and greets as well. At the end of the video I'm going to give you an example of what my day might look like at Magic Kingdom for the first time. Also just going to try and keep this video as short as possible as well. So if you go onto the My Disney Experience app, this will be your home page. If you go to the bottom row, you'll see a little house, a pinpoint, a plus sign, a magnifying glass and then 3 lines. If you go onto the pinpoint, that should bring up this page here. If you then click on locations, Magic Kingdom Park and apply, that will just take you to this screen. So if you zoom in, we're just going to talk about rides for the time being. So this is Main Street, this is the Central Hub, and if you go to the right hand side, this is where Tomorrowland is going to be. So within Tomorrowland, I'll go through the different height requirements as well for the rides. If we just zoom in just a little bit. So for any height requirement, we've got Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin. This is getting an update though, so you just need to double check that it's not being refurbished when you go. We've also got the People Mover. The next ride for the shortest height requirement in Tomorrowland is going to be the Speedway. The height requirement for this one is 32 inches, and then the height requirements get just that little bit taller. So if we move back over to where Space Mountain is, Space Mountain has got a 44-inch height requirement, and then the tallest height requirement is for Tron, and that one is 48 inches. So they're all the rides that are in Tomorrowland. We'll then move on to the shows. So just as you walk into Tomorrowland, on the right hand side there's the Monsters Inc. Laughing Floor, and that's basically just a comedy show. You're inside, there's seats, so it's quite nice to go even during the day to just get a bit of air conditioning. There's also the Carousel of Progress, which is just next to where the Tomorrowland People Mover is. The Carousel of Progress normally has a really low wait time, but it is around a 20-minute show, so it's a really nice place to just get a bit of rest if you're just getting a bit too hot outside. And then right next to where the entrance for the Carousel of Progress is where the meet and greet stop is for Buzz Lightyear, so that's the character meet in Tomorrowland. So once you've finished in Tomorrowland, we'll move on to where Storybook Circus is first. So this is just basically onto the right hand side of where Fantasyland is. For Storybook Circus, so there's Dumbo the Flying Elephant, and that's just on the right hand side as you walk underneath the sign. Just a little bit further along there's the Barnstormer. I certainly think that this is probably going to be the best option to take my niece and nephew on when they go on roller coasters. It's a really short ride. The height requirement for this one is 35 inches. It's a great option to get them used to a thrill ride. It's a small roller coaster. Also in this area there is a railroad stop, so that will take you right around the park, and there's a stop at Main Street, and then there's also a stop in Frontierland, and that's also something that's quite nice to go on just during the day, just going round if it's open. So something else in this area, if it is a really hot day, is the Casey Jr. Splash and Soak station, and that's basically just a big splash pad. And then for the characters you're going to go over to Pete's Silly Sideshow. Within this area you're going to be able to meet Daisy, Donald, Minnie and Goofy. There's 2 separate lines, but they move relatively quickly and don't always go by what it says on the wait time as well. If we move back over onto Fantasyland, the first ride that is there for any height is going to be the Mad Tea Party. There's never normally a long wait for this ride, so if it gets anywhere over 30 minutes, just leave it for now and then come back and revisit it later on, because it will get a shorter queue. Then moving just a little bit further along, you've got the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. So this ride does tend to get a bit more of a longer wait, so if you can get that done either early in the morning or in the afternoon, evening, you're going to get a better wait time than in the middle of the day. Under the Sea, Journey of the Little Mermaid also gets a really short wait time, so if it's anything above 15 minutes, just don't bother and then come back and revisit it just a little bit later on. So if we go back into the centre of Fantasyland, so you've come to Mad Tea Party, you're walking past Winnie the Pooh. Just at the back of the castle there's also Prince Charming Regal Carousel, so that's also at any height requirement. But again, I wouldn't wait too long for that one because as you can see, there's a 5-minute wait there. So the next ride in Fantasyland that is also an any height requirement is Peter Pan's Fly. This one does get a long wait. People actually go to this during rope drop as well. So if you know that somebody in your party really likes Peter Pan, I would recommend doing this one for rope drop if you want to ride it. And then the last ride that isn't any height requirement in Fantasyland is It's a Small World. So if we go back into the centre of Fantasyland, you're going to come across Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. This is, by my experience, one of the 2 most popular rides to do on rope drop. The height requirement for this one is 38 inches. It's a feel-good ride. So the shows in Fantasyland, you've got Mickey's PhilharMagic, which is just next to where the Prince Charming Regal Carousel is. This one's a really good one to do during the middle of the day. It's a great show. I still love it. Really great aircon in there. You get a good sit-down period, so it's a really good one to watch, and there's some great visuals as well, especially with the new update to it. And then something that I would also class as a show, but it's more of a walking tour, is the Enchanted Tales with Belle. It's basically just where you go through the story of Beauty and the Beast and you get to meet Belle as well. So there's actually quite a few characters that you can meet in Fantasyland. If we go back to where the carousel is, you'll see the Princess Fairy Tale Hall. So at the Princess Fairy Tale Hall, you'll usually be able to meet Tiana and Cinderella, and then there's also 2 other princesses that rotate as well. And then the other characters that you can meet are Winnie the Pooh and Tigger. So if you go back to where the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh are, it's just near the entrance to that ride, so you'll be able to see where they meet the characters. Another one is Ariel at Ariel's Grotto. It's basically where the exit to the Little Mermaid ride is. So if we go back towards the central hall, past Cheshire Cafe, you'll see this area here. This is where you can actually meet Mirabelle. So the next characters that you can meet in Fantasyland are actually 2 of my favourite characters to meet in Magic Kingdom. You get some really good interactions with them both. So if you go back to where the back of the castle is, if you're looking at the castle on the right hand side, you'll see Cinderella's fountain. So if you go just a little bit further than that, that's where Anastasia and Drizella meet. If we carry on going around the park and go back to rides, you've just gone past It's a Small World. Something that I missed off the video is you can actually meet Peter Pan as well, and it's just behind the back of where the queue for the ride starts. There's a map of Neverland. If you wait there and just check on the app, there should be times where Peter Pan will come out, and then you'll enter Liberty Square. Any height requirements for Liberty Square, you've got Haunted Mansion, the Liberty Square riverboat as well, and then you'll follow it round to where Frontierland is. So there's a couple of rides in Frontierland. They've both got a 40-inch height requirement, and that's Tiana's Bayou Adventure. That's a new ride. It's a water ride. There's also the Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. So the shows in Frontierland, you've basically just got one, and that's the Country Bear Musical Jamboree. So the characters that you can meet in Frontierland are basically the Country Bears. They're usually roaming around that area. So if we carry on through to Adventureland, the any height requirement for the rides in Adventureland, you've got Pirates of the Caribbean, Magic Carpets of Aladdin, you've got the Jungle Cruise, the Swiss Family Treehouse. The shows that you can go to in Adventureland is just one, and that's the Enchanted Tiki Room. That's again a nice place to just get a bit of aircon, there's seats in there. So the characters that you can meet Jack Sparrow, which is just near the exit of Pirates of the Caribbean. You go through the shop and then it's on your left hand side and you sort of turn left again and it's a little bit pushed back. And then you can also meet Aladdin and Jasmine. So if we go back towards where the Magic Carpet ride is, if you see where the camel is, if you see where the building to the left of that is, they normally meet under the canopy there. If we go back down to where Main Street is, you'll see 2 character marks. Sometimes you can meet Ilana and Mulan at the front of Main Street under the theatre porch, so make sure that you keep an eye on that. Inside the Town Square Theatre you can also meet Mickey Mouse. So if we move on to dining, again, what we're going to do is we're going to start from Tomorrowland and make our way around the park. So if we go into Tomorrowland, I'll go through the quick service and then I'll go through the dining reservation restaurants as well. So if we zoom in just a little bit. So the first one that you can see is the luncheon pad. So that one is open from 9 a.m. until 10 p.m. And I won't go through the whole menu of everything. That's all on the My Disney Experience app. So go through the menus and see if there's anything that you'd like. Start making a list of anything that you want to try as well. I'd probably recommend the cream cheese pretzel from there. That's nice. And then just up here is Auntie Gravity's Galactic Goodies. That's a mouthful. That's open from 10:30 till 10 p.m. There's things like soft serve from there. There's cold brews. So there's one that I recommend, which is a cold brew float. You can choose what Joffrey's cold brew you want in there, and then there's a salted caramel soft swirl. There's a salted caramel soft swirl. No, a salted caramel soft swirl. No, there's a salted caramel soft serve. Okay, which is really nice. There's also another Joffrey stand as well. That one is open from 9 a.m. till 10 p.m. And then the other restaurant that is in Tomorrowland, there's quite a lot of seating. There's seating inside, there's seating outside as well. But if you go in at the really busy times, you're going to be waiting for a table. It'll be one of them situations where there's people not surrounding the tables, but there's people sort of walking in and out, looking for people that are finishing to then get that table. So it's quite busy. So it's best to go from sort of 11 p.m. till 12 p.m. and then afterwards, so like 2 p.m. till 3 p.m. rather than at the really busy times, if you can help that. And that's Cosmic Ray's Starlight Cafe. That one is open from 10:30 until 10 p.m. and it does things like burgers, chicken strips, salads. So there's no reservation dining in Tomorrowland. So if we move on to Fantasyland, so the first thing that you've got is Cheshire Cafe. That's open from 9 a.m. till 7 p.m. and they do a really nice pastry there. I think it's called the Cheshire Cattail. That's something that I normally go and get for breakfast because it's not too heavy, but it is a nice little treat to get as well. And they also serve Joffrey's there, so you can get a cold brew while you pick that up. So there is also Prince Eric's Village Market round the back. I'd just walk past this one. I wouldn't really recommend. There's nothing special to it, so I'd keep walking to where Gaston's Tavern is. This one's open from 9 a.m. till 7 p.m. and they do a really popular cinnamon roll and a creme brulee croissant from there, so that's worth going to. And then you've got Storybook Treats that basically serves your soft serve character ice cream cones and sundaes as well. That one's open from 11 a.m. until 10 p.m. and then if you move next door to the Friar's Nut, so you get breakfast tarts and then you'll get a lunch and dinner option for tots as well. I wouldn't recommend going here for lunch or dinner if you've got a lot of people that want different things. There's other places that you can go where you've got multiple options. That one's open from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. and then if you just go just across at the back of where the carousel is, you've got Pinocchio Village House. So that one serves flatbreads, salads. I think they do serve chicken strips in there as well. That one's open from 10:30 a.m. until 9 p.m. So there's quite a few prefix or reservation dining options at Fantasyland. So if you go back to the castle, there's actually Cinderella's Royal Table in there. So Cinderella's Royal Table is a prefixed menu. This one is also a character meal and there is a walk-up list. However, I recommend making a reservation. That one's open from 8 a.m. until 11 p.m. So the princesses that you actually meet, they do differ throughout the day. So you'll always meet Cinderella there, but the princesses at breakfast will be different for the princesses at lunch and then again at dinner. So the best thing that you can do is just type into Google what princesses are at Cinderella's Royal Table for breakfast and then it should come up. But these things do change all the time, so you just need to be aware of that. And then if we go back towards where Belle's Castle is, there's the Be Our Guest restaurant. This one also has got a walk-up list, but again, I do recommend making a reservation. That one's open from 11 a.m. until 9 p.m. They only serve lunch and dinner here, and that one is a prefixed menu. So Be Our Guest is also a prefix menu. There's 3 rooms in the castle. Grand Ballroom, there's the West Wing, and then I believe the other one is the Rose Gallery. I recommend eating in the Grand Ballroom. So for the characters in this meal, you don't come to the table, and the only character that you're going to see throughout the whole meal is the Beast. That is not here. So once we've gone through Fantasyland, you'll go to Liberty Square. The first quick service for Liberty Square is Columbia Harbour House. This is by far my favourite quick service in Magic Kingdom. It's open from 11 AM until 8 PM. So a couple of my favourites at Columbia Harbour House are the salmon and also the trio platter. You can also get different size with those as well. So if you had enough with getting fries, they do options of vegetables, rice. It's a good option for if you're wanting something a little bit lighter. Definitely do mobile order because you will save time by doing that. The next place in Liberty Square is going to be the Liberty Square Market. This is basically just somewhere that you can get a turkey leg. The next place in Liberty Square is Sleepy Hollow. This is where you can basically get your Mickey waffles in Magic Kingdom. They do really big Mickey waffles and then you can get different toppings on it. So it's open from 9 AM until 10 PM. They are really nice. You can also get funnel cakes from here. So for the sit down reservation meals within Liberty Square, you've got the Liberty Tree Tavern, and this is basically just like traditional Thanksgiving food. There's also a walk-up list for this one, and it's open from 11 until 8 PM. Again, I would make sure for any of the table service meals that you do make a reservation when you can. The next table service restaurant in Liberty Square is the Diamond Horseshoe. This is very similar to what you can get at the Liberty Tree Tavern. This one is described as a frontier feast. I don't really know what the difference is because, to be fair, I've not been to this one. So that's everything in Liberty Square. So if we make our way over to Frontierland, the first one that you've got in Frontierland is Westward Ho. That is open from 9:30 AM until 8:30 at night, and they do really nice cinnamon donut holes. So I'd recommend getting that. It's just like a little snack cart. Oh, and they also do the jalapeno poppers as well. They're really nice. And then just across the way is the Pecosville Tall Tale Inn and Cafe. That one's open from 11 AM until 8:30. The 2 things that I would recommend from there are the nachos and the rice bowls that you can build yourself. So if we go just a little bit further round, there's another what I would class as a snack cart, and that's the Golden Oak Outpost. They do a chicken strip meal, which is actually just a little bit different than all the others. I think it's got like a hot honey sauce on it. Not tried that yet. They also do the beignets there. They're fine. They're not as nice as the ones that you can get at Port Orleans French Quarter, which is the resort near Disney Springs where you can get a boat over to it. I'd recommend going there for your beignets rather than having them at Magic Kingdom. So if we just move along to Adventureland. So in Adventureland, the first place that you're going to come to is Aloha Isle. That one's open from 10 AM until 10 PM, and that basically does Dole Whip. It does a pineapple upside down cake, which is really nice, a coconut cup, which is really nice and refreshing. And then if we carry on making our way further around, there's also the Sunshine Tree Terrace, which basically does the rest of the soft ice creams. It also does a citrus swirl, which is one of my favourite snacks to get in Magic Kingdom. They also do floats there, and that one's open from 10 AM until 9 PM. So if you just go just a little bit further along, you can't actually click on this one, but this is a spring roll snack cart. That's just outside of the entrance for Adventureland. I would recommend going for the cheeseburger spring rolls. They're really nice, but when they do sell out, that's it, they're done. They don't get any more. I think they also do a pepperoni pizza spring roll, but that one changes. So if we go back into Adventureland, just for the table service meal that you can get there, it's the Jungle Navigation Company, the Skipper's Canteen, and that's a really nice restaurant. If you've got anybody that likes to be adventurous with food, that's definitely somewhere to go. They do things like curry, rice dishes, they do nice salads there, they do steak, but they've also got the kids meals as well, so that you'll be able to feed the whole family. And that one is open from 11 AM until 9 PM, but I'd recommend putting a reservation there instead of joining the walk-up list, which you can do if you've not got a reservation, but I'd recommend getting one because it does get full. So if we go back to where Main Street is, we'll just go through some of the options for food that you've got there. So the first one that you've got is Casey's Corner. Basically does things like hot dogs, corn dog nuggets, which if I'm not going to Columbia Harbour House, go in and getting those. That one's open from 10:30 a.m. until 10 p.m. And just a little tip as well, so if you've gone to Casey's Corners to get your meal, if all of the seating just outside of here is full, walk down this pathway to the Tomorrowland Terrace restaurant, because that's actually closed, but the seating areas are open and it's a nice place to sit because you're covered. They do have fans in there and there's loads of seating, so you're not cramped in with people as well. So the next place that you can go is the Plaza Ice Cream Parlour, and this basically does scooped ice cream. They do cones, cups, sundaes. They also do milkshakes as well, which are really nice. I prefer to have one of those, and that one's open from 11 a.m. until 10:30 p.m. so that's nice to have just after the fireworks as well if you've not. That's nice to have just after the fireworks as well if you'd rather wait for the crowds to go out of Magic Kingdom, and then you can just sit and enjoy a little sundae. So the next one further down Main Street is Main Street Bakery, which is basically the Starbucks at Magic Kingdom. It's open from 8:30 a.m. until 10 p.m. as well. They do a few little Disney treats in there. Further down Main Street is the Main Street Confectionery, and this is where you'll get all your sweet treats. So the Main Street Confectionery is open from 9 a.m. until 10 p.m. so sometimes I like to get something on the way home. I like to get a Rice Krispie treat to have back at the room. Just a little bit of a tip as well, make sure that you look out for the fresh bags, not for the pre-packaged items. You'll be able to tell what's pre-packaged because it'll have some sort of design on the packaging, whereas all of the fresh bags are basically they've just got a tie at the top. They do things like Rice Krispie treats, caramel apples. That's where you can get your bespoke popcorn done. One of my friends really likes to get the chocolate covered strawberries from there. So if we go back to the top of Main Street, we'll go to the first table service restaurant, which is the Crystal Palace. That one's open from 8 a.m. until 9 p.m. and it does breakfast, lunch and a dinner serving. There is a walk-up list for it, but again I'd recommend making a reservation for that one. So it's a character meal. You'll meet Winnie the Pooh, Tigger, Piglet and Eeyore. I think that's it. If you go for breakfast, you'll be able to try the churro Mickey waffles as well, which I believe are on the Disney cruises. I've not been on a Disney cruise yet, but hopefully I will get to do that soon. And that one's a buffet. So if we go across, just behind the Plaza Ice Cream, there's the Plaza restaurant. So that one is open from 11 a.m. until 9 p.m. Again, there's a walk-up list, but make a reservation. This one does cheeseburgers, salads, sandwiches, quite well known for the shakes and the desserts. So that's that one. And then if we go right back to front entrance, on the right hand side there's Tony's Town Square restaurant. So this restaurant is classed as an American Italian according to the description on the Disney Experience app. It's open from 11:30 a.m. until 9 p.m. and the mozzarella sticks are supposed to be really good from here. So now that we've gone through all of the rides and all of the dining options that you've got, I'll go through what a day at Magic Kingdom might look like. But what I've tried to do is make an assumption into what somebody might want to do for their first day at Magic Kingdom. So for this, I'm assuming that the person that's going to Magic Kingdom is staying on site, which means that they'll get early entry. So what I'll do is I'll put little timestamps as well. So the first thing that I would do is get to Magic Kingdom for the security and to get in. Probably get there for 7 a.m. for that. Early entry starts at 7:30, which means you do need to be there half an hour before because there will be a queue. One thing to note about security is that you can make it easier for yourself. So if you've got things like an umbrella in your bag, take that out and walk through the scanners with it in front of you, and then they can see that it's not something that's in your bag. So then once I've got through security, I'll then get in line for rope drop. I'll go to Seven Dwarfs Mine Train in Fantasyland. After getting off Seven Dwarfs, I'll probably make my way back round to Space Mountain. And then once I've come off Space Mountain, I'll go straight for a Joffrey's, because at that point, I'll have been in the parks for over an hour and I definitely need a coffee and just a little bit of something to eat. Once I've done that, I'll cross over the Central Hub into Adventureland, because what will happen is everybody that's got there for rope drop has gone over to the right hand side ride and they're starting to make their way around the park. So if you can get over to the left-hand side for when that opens, you're onto a winner before the rest of the rope droppers get over there, if that makes sense. So then I'll go through things like Jungle Cruise, Pirates of the Caribbean. I'll go on carpets if I want to do that. Obviously, just bear in mind that a couple of these rides might not be open at this point. And then I'll make my way into Frontierland, Tiana's and Big Thunder Mountain. I'll go into the pin trading store because I really enjoy collecting pins. And then what I'll do from there is I'll probably order an early lunch from Columbia Harbour House on mobile order. And then once I've sat upstairs and eaten that, I'll go over to Haunted Mansion. Please bear in mind that this is best case scenario. Obviously there's going to be situations where the wait time for some of these rides are going to be way too long that I want to wait for it, so you do go back and forth to other lands. Sometimes have a plan of the rides that I'd like to go on for the day, but sometimes you just have to swap them about just a little bit just to try and work with the wait times that you get. And then after I've been on Haunted Mansion, I'll go round to where Fantasyland is and go into Mickey's PhilharMagic. It's probably going to be during the middle of the day at this point, which is going to be the hottest part of the day, so it's a good time to just spend 20 minutes or so just in the aircon, relaxing because there's seating and just enjoying the show. I'll then go around to meet Anastasia and Drizella because I enjoy meeting those. And then what I would probably do from there is I would go back to where the Little Mermaid is and also go on that one as well. And then cut through into the Storybook Circus, go into Big Top Souvenirs because that's one of the best places to try and find a bit of merchandise that you're trying to get hold of. Do a little bit of shopping in there. And then I'll go through and get on the train. I'll go all the way around the park once, but then also just get off at the front of the park on Main Street, because at that point I can decide if I'd like to go to any of the resorts on the monorail link. I'll make that decision then and just go over and chill for a bit. There's some really nice places at Wilderness Lodge and the Polynesian where you can get a seat near the lake. You can just chill out for a couple of hours and then head back into the park. This is what I normally do. Also, make sure that you take your resort mug with you because I'll be definitely topping that up at the resorts that I go to. And then I'd head back to the park for my reservation at Crystal Palace, and I will try and get a reservation for 8:45 p.m. So the reason for that is they have a little canopy on the outside of the entrance where you're actually allowed to go and see Happily Ever After. So the only thing is with this, you can watch the fireworks, but you can't see the projections that well. You can see them, but it's not that well. I would recommend just doing this if you're just happy to be away from the crowds and watching it. And then it's also great because then once Happily Ever After is finished, you can just go straight back inside and finish at Crystal Palace and everybody's leaving for the night. I'll then go back down Main Street, sweet to take home from the Main Street confectionery. I'll probably pick up a Rice Krispie treat or one of the caramel apples because I really like either of those two. So depending on what time I get out, I'll go over to Tron and try and get in the queue before the park closes, because as long as you enter the queue before the closing time of the park, you can still ride the ride. And then that'll be my day at Magic Kingdom. The only other thing that I would recommend keeping an eye out for is the Disney Starlight Dream Parade. I think it's going to be opening from the 20th of July. Don't know how long it's going to be on for, but we'll just have to keep checking the Disney website for that. Thank you so much for watching if you've made it this far, and I have really hope that this helps. Keep an eye out for the videos that I do for Hollywood Studios, Epcot, and also for Animal Kingdom. This series is just for people that are beginners to Walt Disney World. I know that there's a lot more for people to do at Magic Kingdom, but it's just a starting point for those who might not know what to do for their first day. Let me know in the comments if there's any other videos that you want me to do.